Alright, hello. How's everybody doing? Let's work on this music a little bit here. Let me know if music gets too loud or quiet. How's it going there, Amanda? How's it going there, Chris Adams? How are you, Zizo? And how's it, Alistair? How's everybody doing today? Alright, we're probably going to do a little bit of this and that. Won't make it a super long stream today, but let's see. I'll probably start with the Wrecker a little bit. I just want to make steady progress on this. Do a little bit of time probably, and then we'll probably go. I would like to do some more tutorials on some of the testing work I have to do, so probably move on to that at some point. I'm trying to decide what I want to do here. I might. I don't know if I want to shrink my tanks or not. I kind of like the overhang there. So I might do that. I'm not a huge fan of the RPS power ports there, but I'd have to move my fluid port to fix that. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what I want to do there. Yeah. Figure something out there. Let's see. Kind of forget where I left off here. For the most part, it's pretty much like it functions as it's supposed to. Let's just quickly grab it in. Let's check some stuff. Oh, so I did some things off screen. I put in TTIS Mark II, so TTIS 2 is in here. I believe I plumbed that up. Let me check. Yep, I plumbed in the air, so we have air. I don't think I've connected the light cord, but you'll be able to hook a trailer on the back here. I do a bunch of testing and everything else today. So this would stow like this in normal transport. I kind of have to see where that goes up to. Let's see, where are we at? Let's see, 0.89. Probably 0.85, I think. All right, let's do that. Where's my cursor? Thank you very much. All right. There's the tow lift. So I'd like to put in lockers on here, but we're going to have space issues, so I got to kind of see. I could cut out some ballast to put in lockers along the sides here. It does not have a lift axle. I'd have to cut out too much space. I want it well, like this has a lot of counterweight in there. I'd have to take that out. So I decided to just do hard axles on it. So I'm going to just do hard axles. Let's see what else. Put in TTIS Mark II. That's in. Probably put some extra cherries on top here. I have not figured out where I want to put those yet. So let's go. I'm thinking this color here. Let's go. Got the cherries plumbed in. Alright, and then let's see. Let's run that with the cherries. What I'm probably actually going to do is flip these cherries here so that they alternate. There we go. That's better with alternating cherries, I think. That's good. All right, nice. I'll probably put on some side lighting for that. How's it going there? Echo, how are you? Echo, 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 Echo. What fix on the transmission? Oh, you're talking to Citrus? Okay, got it. Was that you? Who was, somebody was looking for help with the transmission. Alright, let's see. So that is... We're pretty good on a lot of functionality. Let's do some lifty for funny. Not gonna work on this too long. I don't wanna... I wanna do a little bit at a time. And then I want to work on some testing, some other builds, trying to keep it fresh and interesting. Let us put in something here. Again, we'll just lift the bus for the funds. There's the test bus. I've not grabbed the latest workshop link. It was not working when I first grabbed it, so I have this version of it that was sent to me. Still don't know why the right side is weaker. Like, I have to see. Maybe I've got the height wrong still. I'll have to see. But I don't know why it's currently doing that. I gotta look at it. I haven't touched it in a couple days, so not sure what's up. Like this one here, if I push it down, it will not lift it up. It will not lift the vehicle up, but it will do it on the other side. So, not sure. I'm walking here. I'm a walking here. All right. You don't want to put too much force on it. I think it's like somewhere around 140. These disconnect. So as you can see, sometimes they'll keep building up force, and eventually they'll let loose. So you got to be a little careful of that. So, and this will probably get a radio control at some point. Oh, what's that about? Why did that just disconnect? That's interesting. Why did that just disconnect? I don't know. It's mostly for lateral anyways. It's pretty damn heavy, so it's mostly lateral movement is what that's all concerned with. All right, this one's still lifting up too much. I gotta fix that, so let's do that right now. Right about there is good. Let's see. I gotta jump on there and test it. I thought I had already done this. Let's see. 0.52. All right. Let's see. I'm in the wrong panel. I am. Okay. Let's see. 0.52 for peach. And let's get a paint in there as well. Interesting. Something's up with when I pressed this button here. It did something weird with the sports. I don't know what the dealio is with that. I'm walking here. Let's see. Now, sometimes, I gotta swap A and D on this. Sometimes, like, these sliding tracks will get sticky, so you just have to, like, sometimes lower them, raise them up. They just get a little misaligned. So it's just something you got to do. All right, what are we hitting? Okay, we're hitting that wall there. All right. Really need and want that wall there, so I don't know what... How bad is that? Oh, that's bad. All right. Crap, I really want that wall surrounding it. It's not going to be able to be there, so I'm going to screw with that for now. Let's pull that for now. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. This is all counterweighted too, so... for now. Might be able to strip the bottom out of it. No, we'll see. Trying not to hit the roof here. Trying to get as high as I can without hitting the roof. That's max, okay. Let's actually do a full, we'll do a proper flip on this because that's what we're supposed to be doing. A little bit to the right, maybe. There we go. All right. Try to get it close to center of gravity. All right, there we go. All right, so she's strong. All right, good. And then let's do a rotation. I have problems hitting the lights here in a second, but functions very well. Hit that light. Alright, so I gotta switch A and D around. That's backwards as far as I'm concerned. Try to get this to attach. Sometimes it doesn't work. If I don't get it right, okay, that's why it's not all the way in. Okay, there we go. Let's go, we'll hook up. Alright, good. Let's hook up to the bus. Brakes are on. Titus Mark II is in. This does not center. I gotta fix that when I go in. Okay. A little bit lower. Did the bus go? I don't know. The bus looks like it's sitting low. Why is the bus sitting so low? That's weird. Yeah, the wheels are sticking on the ground. We can fix that with the crane, but let's just sit here for a second. I'll fix it with a crane. we go. I have the brakes on the bus still too, so. Take the brakes off on the bus. There we go. All right. Take my brakes off too. We'll push the tractor as necessary. There we go. All right, good. Okay, we're locked up. We're locked up. Could use some secure ropes, but I don't have any on it at present, so. All right, let's go. Why the brakes dragging on the bus? Shut the brakes off and it's dragging. Interesting. I shut the brakes off. I don't know why it's dragging. It's being a little funky. Being a little funky. This is probably where it will lose as sliding around. But wheels are not turning on the bus. Doesn't care though that the wheels are not turning the bus. It still is doing its job. That works pretty well. Might come off here. Yep, there we go. That's what the safety chains are for. Might change up the way that... I can't do it that way. Might change up the apparatus in the back. I don't know. I haven't decided. Or the... for the crane module, essentially is what I'm saying. All right, good. Let's save that. That's some good progress on there. Let's go ahead and cut out the bus again. Go ahead and save. And then I think we'll play with some other testing stuff. Maybe my plane. Catch up a chat here. Let's catch up with this chat here. Yeah, I definitely want to do radio control. It's going to be one of the options. Yeah, it's like 145, 150. Yep, Citrus is correct. I have a couple radio control tutorials. So one thing you can... Let me see if I have... let's actually work on crab real quick. I think I did it. I'll show you what one thing you can do. Let me see if I fixed crab already. What channel are you supposed to be on? I think 6. I usually put everything on 6. What is the control for cycle frequencies are now? Okay. Alright, let's see. Stop. Alright, so see how the arms stick? Alright, now normally a controller is reset, and you cannot change it to sticky. But you can do it with a microcontroller. And so I'll quickly talk about that. As that's often like what... That's generally what I'll do, is I will do... you know, if you're going to do something like this. And so, for example, like the crab here, as you can see, I want the arms to stay in the position that I put the arms in. And so the way you can accomplish that, even though the controller is naturally reset, let's go into the micro here for that. Scorpion controls. It's not the scorpion, it's the crab. It was the scorpion. There we go. All right, let's see. All right, so the way you can do this is, first of all, understanding the controller. So let's do new vehicle. Let's do base. All right. So I'm not going to use the controller, we'll just use a seat to demonstrate it here. So if we did that, let's do that. Let's go blank. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to put in a seat value, and we're just going to output a seat number. Input. Output. Number. Okay. I'm not going to bother labeling them. We're just going to do this real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a seat value in, and then we're going to put it through a delta. And we're going to output the delta. And I'll show you, like, this is often what you can do to kind of, you know, visualize some of these things. I find that best. And so... Alright, so if we take a seat, let's just take that seat. Okay, and let's actually go like this. This way make it easier to see them. Actually, let's just delete. Alright, so we have two dials on here. Alright, one of them is going to take, for example, let's say up-down. That's what I was using. Doesn't really matter. Up-down, we're going to go directly in from the value. This one is then going to go into the delta. So we're going to read the delta, and we're going to read that. On a seat, we can click on the seat, and we can go in and we configure reset, the percentage reset, or sticky. So in order to turn the controller from reset to sticky, what we're essentially doing here is we're going to come in, and let's first look at the behavior. A lot of people don't do this. They don't visualize how the behavior works. So this one here is going to show me what the up-down does. So if I press up, as you can see, it slowly goes up to 1 eventually. I let go, it slowly goes back down to 0. If I press the down, it will slowly go down to -1. Now, if I look at the delta, watch what happens when I push up. We're going to get a change. We're going to get a delta change. Now, as you can see, it went to 0. It's actually multiple decimal places. If you look, see how many decimal places it is? All right, because it's a gradual change. Now watch what happens. It will eventually go to 0. Now, the reason it's at 0 is, again, delta is change. So once we hit 1 and we stay at 1, there is no change. All right? And so you can use a delta in addition to this to then make something act as though it is a essentially an up-down counter. So generally what I like to do when I'm doing, say, let's quickly pivot. Yeah, I gotta do a stanchion first. Let's do a stanchion. So we'll visualize this even better here. So here is the robotic pivot here. So again, robotic pivot was what the arms were doing there. All right. All right, so if I did this for, say, crab, right, and this is how I'm going to make it work with my crane. So if I go ahead and I go up, it's going to go one way. If I go ahead and go down, it's going to go the other way, right? But I want it to stay sticky. So when I let go of it, I don't want it to reset. All right. So we can use this delta to accomplish that, right? Because eventually the delta goes to 0, right? So when the number, let me just double check this real quick. I want to make sure the numbers are going the correct direction. I kind of have it going backwards. But if I go up, it is a positive number. If I go down, it is a negative number. If I go up, it is a positive number. If I go down, it's a negative number, right? So we can use the delta or we can use the number to control it. So what we do then is, in order to turn this, because this is simulating the remote control, we cannot go to sticky. In a seat, it's easy, right? You go here, you go sticky, and bingo, it's done. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in a condition here where we want this now to be sticky. So let's actually change it. So this is input up/down. That's and this is going to be pivot. All right. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to do two things. All right. So we're going to do an up-down counter. Right, the up-down counter is going to be, let's do whatever the speed we want. I usually do 0.001 is a good speed for something like this. Enabled. -1 is all the way one direction. 1 is all the way the other direction. All right. So the conditions are going to be this. If the up-down counter, if the up-down axis is positive or, let's see, let's go. All right, so if the up-down is greater than 0, right, or the delta is greater than 0, right, and then we're going to put in an OR block. So if either of these, let me see. No, it should be an AND. Because it would keep moving unless I put it in as an AND block. So what's going to happen is when the up-down counter is greater than 0, i.e. I'm pushing on the button, and the delta is greater than 0, it will then push up. All right. Now we're going to do the opposite here, where we go less than. All right, so if the up-down is less than 0, and the delta is also less than 0, that's saying, hey, I want it to go down. Oh, wrong one. All right, that's going to say, hey, I want you to go down. All right, so we go AND again. And then that's going to go down. That's going to now command the pivot. So this is how we turn a remote control into essentially sticky, like I did with Crab. Crab used to I just put in a trim. So now, if I want to go down, and I let's see, I fucked something up here. What did I do? Let me see. Oh, I didn't hook it up through the panel. Okay, I didn't even hook the panel up. That's why. I did not screw up anything. I just didn't hook the panel up. All right, that's why. I was like, it looked right. All right, so now when we go ahead and we get in our seat and we go up and we let go, it stops. And the reason it stops is, let's look at our numbers here. The delta number is going to be fucked up. But if we look at the number here, right, when we push the button, it goes up. Now, when I let go of this number is still going to be greater than 0, right? But the delta is now 0, or less than 0, as it's rebounding. So one condition fulfills the up-down counter. The other does not, the delta. By adding that delta, as soon as I let go of the key, it says, hey, he's not pushing the key anymore. And that's how you can make it sticky, is when I let go of the key, it stops moving, even though this is still moving. Now, as I go to the right and I let go, it stops. And so that's how you can make them sticky really simply with that. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And then again, if you want to change the rate, you want to move that pivot even faster, it's real simple. You just come in, change this rate. Let's make it 10 times faster. So I like this for configurability. So like when I go to put that into the crane, you know, you can essentially what I'm going to do is I'll have 2 conditions to make it go up. I'll either press the panel. So you could make 3 conditions. I could do it where I can use the panel on the side, I can use it where I use the handle on the side, and I can use it where I use the remote. So if I want to do 3 different control methods, I could. So here we go. That's 10 times faster. 10 times faster. All right. And so now you can control that. So hopefully that makes sense, everybody. What linear track am I using to lift the boom? Just the small linear track. I can show you the boom really quick. Let's grab that. You know, so as much as I do agree with people, it would be nice if some of these features were innate to the game. For example, you know, the ability to have a... I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing here real quick. For example, having a remote control that you could go ahead and do sticky on. You can also make it yourself with microcontrollers. Now, part of the issue then comes in of space. As usual with the game is sometimes you just run out of space, so it would be nice if some of these things were innate just for space purposes. What is this? Okay, what is that? That can go... What are you, sir, madam? Okay, that's correct. All right. These need to be... I'm just adding extra weight here. Bingo, bingo, bango. You know, so we can do a lot of this stuff ourselves. Would it be nice if it was innately in the game? Sure. But you can do it yourself until the point. They are doing a good job, I think, of adding some of these things. But again, like, there's 1,000,001 things. You know, somebody had asked, I put it on, say what... a link to it was somebody asked, you know, if people would recommend the game, and Where the hell's my... And so it's... I forget my whole friggin' train of thought on that, but... welcome to my mind. Alright, let's see. I could bring this up 2 levels for the rotor there. I could do that. Let's see. I'm just playing. I'm not gonna screw this right now. You asked for the crane. Let's do that. I got it distracted. All right, so this is how the crane works. I'll strip it apart so you can see it. I don't know if I like the side facade on this particular crane. So the way the crane works to make it triple, eventually I'll do a crane tutorial, but look at the segments. So on the bottom here we have, I believe the bottom is linear tracks. So if we go ahead and we look at this, here is the linear track head right here. And so we have a track going all the way on the bottom. So if you look at that, you can see it right there. There's the track going all the way to the bottom. Here's the linear track head right here. It's small linear track. And so this track head will go along the bottom, pushing out segment 1 right there. Now on segment 1, we have a bunch of grippers. All right, the grippers are going to grab these pieces here and break them so that it keeps it's from sliding. You don't want these linear tracks necessarily on all the time. So what happens is it turns the linear track on. It gives it, say, a 0.25 speed. It then goes. As soon as I let go of the linear track, it will then break these. So it'll put on the brakes and it will hold on to here. And then what we have here is I have an upside down linear track. So if you look here, you can see this is linear track here. And then this is an upside down linear track. So you just put it upside down and reverse it. And what's going to happen is with this segment, you see the head of the linear track on segment 2 is merged to segment 1. Then the track base is actually what moves. And so you can see it's supported by the linear track at the front, and it's also supported by these track segments on the gripper track on the rear. What this does is this makes it less likely to bind because it's supported here and it's supported here. As it gets closer, the distance, the span gets smaller, and so it's less likely to get hung up. And then generally what I have here is this is gripper track right on top. You can see that's gripper track going all the way down the top here. So as segment 1 comes out and I let go of the linear track moving segment 1, this gripper will grab onto this track and hold it. So that makes sense? All right, let's go back all the way. Ah, shit. I don't know. I'll redo what I did. I just did painting work. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Good tutorial on radio controlled. Yeah, I have a couple tutorials radio controlled. I'm just trying to catch up. Chat. Yeah, some of that radio control stuff with Mr. New Jersey is still probably valid because they really haven't changed it. Hello, Sergeant. Hello, good to see you. Pivots or piston, raise the boom. Pivots. How are they so strong? The base is pretty heavy as it is, so that helps. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's wrong. Like, people say just add weight, just add weight. Adding weight to the first segment helps because essentially the way the game, and my understanding of how the game is prioritizing which segment is strongest, is the heaviest. All right, so if you look at the segments, right, the red segment is the base segment. This is segment 1. I don't know what color segment 2 would be, but segment 2 is going to be the next strongest. So one way to make your build stronger is segment 1 is red, segment 2 is going to be potentially this, segment 3 is this, segment 4 is this. Now, as you get these parts, you actually, to a certain extent, want them lighter and lighter. This segment here, this is all weight right here. So this is all weight, this is all weight. That helps. Using mechanical advantage helps. Some of it is, again, you get just trial and error. Like, I had a crane that was not behaving for a while. I went back to a crane that I knew worked. I know that's not a really interesting answer, but that's generally what happens as well. But this part is very heavy. This is 100% weight blocks. That's why it's gray. So if you color swap this out to pink, you'll notice that's all weight. So that helps. Now, people will say just throw weight on it. You got to segment them correctly where it's like this is the heaviest part of the vehicle, is the main part, then this, and then you start getting away from that, you know. But, you know, this part here is reasonably heavy there. Let's see what else. Pistons will help. Let's see if I have an old version. For example, before Alistair, before he lowered the weight of the bus, I've had triple pistons on. Now, I'm glad he lowered the weight of the bus because this is, I think, getting ridiculous looking, putting triple pistons on. But these triple pistons were very strong. I'll show you in the editor. Let me go push these on. I can show you. The other thing you can do is multiply the pivots. So, like, these pistons are very strong here. That helps a lot. Also, like, you know, you got to think about it from a mechanical perspective, right? So, bring up paint really quick. Again, a lot of these real-life physics things, again, while not 100% perfect, work pretty well. You know, the better you get it closer to real-life stuff, the better it's going to work and the more reliable it's going to work. So, like, if we were to look at, again, like, if you took a, let's say this is a, fucking hell. Let's say you took let's say this is a long board, right? So if you take your hand and you try to pivot it right here. So let's say you put your fingertips on this and you try to lift the board, that's going to be very heavy, right? One, because all of the mass is between here and here. So most of the mass is going to be ahead of it. Also, you need to talk torque, right? The longer the lever arm, the more torque. So this down here doesn't weigh very much, but because the lever arm is very long, it is heavy. And so one thing is to shorten your lever arm. So for example, if I make this a dummy pivot here, all right, if I make this a dummy pivot here, and then I take some pistons, and I put a piston and I pivot the piston from, say, here, and then I have the piston come up and connect here, right? We're no longer lifting all of this. We're only lifting this segment of it right there. And then also the lever arm is shortened. So this right here is actually it's being lifted, but it's not being lifted. It's pivoting off of this. So the pivot is taking some of the weight of this segment. But also the lever arm is now shorter. So before, where the lever arm was this long, the lever arm is now this long, and so you've decreased the amount of torque that this part is putting on there. Now you can even do more, where you, for example, move your pivot here for your piston from here. Now move your pivot here and connect it. And now what's going to happen is you're moving it more directly. So instead of pushing it, because when it was here, some of the force was going this direction and some of the force was going up. And the resultant lift vector was like somewhere like here. Now, because you're right underneath the load, the lift is going straight up. So you're using 100% of your power to lift it straight up. So you can do stuff like that as well. Move the piston into a vertical position as well. The other thing you can do is counterweight. So for example, you have a pivot point here, right? So you have a pivot point here. Well, one thing you can do is put a counterweight on there. So let's say this weighs, I don't know, 10 kilograms. Let me see if I can get a torque, torque formula. Let's see, torque. I'm trying to just get a simple one here to run. Let's see. I don't want to go super in-depth with it. I'm just trying to do weight and lever arm formula. See what this comes up with. Should be something simple. Why is this one in imperial units? Force equals FEDE equals FL. Force newtons load. I'm trying to get just a quick diagram. Okay, here we go. This is a lever calculator here. Let's look at this. So we have force in newtons. We have the distance from the load force to fulcrum. Distance from the effort force to fulcrum. That's kind of a pain in the ass. Let's see. Effort force, force down. So FE is going to be mass, and then DE is the lever arm. All right, so let's see. So let's go, get rid of that. That's what I'm looking for. Distance from load force to fulcrum. So load force is, oh, this is for, I don't want that. I'm trying to think best way to do this. I just want a simple lever arm formula. Lever arm formula, let's see. Trying to get a... See, I'm not trying to do pendulum. I'm not trying to do fulcrums. That's why I'm trying to get rid of the fulcrum element of it. So we'll just talk theoretical on this because I can't find one that's trying to do what I want to do. But anyways, the longer the lever arm, the more force. So like, let's say, for example, let's say it's length in meters times kilograms. All right. It wouldn't necessarily be that, but anyway, so like say this was 10, so it'd be 10 times 10, so it'd be 10 kilograms, 10 on this, that would be 100, okay? So that's 100 force, all right? So that's going to be like 100 units going down, trying to push this arm down. So one thing you can do is you come over here, so it'll be 100 kilograms of force trying to push down here. And so essentially, if you could put a counterweight on this, so what you would do is you would add a counterweight on the back, and you make sure that counterweight weighs, it doesn't have to weigh 100 kilograms either. Let's say this is 1/10 of this length. So, you know, essentially all you need to do, well, I just make it 100 kilograms to make it easy. So that's 100 kilograms. So if you put 100 kilograms on here, this is not having to turn much because this over here, all of this, equals this over here. And so that's how elevators work, right? So an elevator, you have the box, and then you have cables. The cables go up over a bell, and they come down, and there's a mass over here. And if the elevator weighs, say, 2 tons, right? And this weighs 2 tons, right? The motor that turns the elevator, it's essentially doing very, very little. All it needs to do to move this car is move greater than 2 tons, right? If that motor moves like just 1 kilograms worth of force, it can move the elevator car up because it's counterweighted. Now you put a person in there, right? The person relative to the mass of the elevator is very little. So, I don't know, let's say point. So let's say they're 10% of the weight of the car. So if you put in, say, 10 people, right, it would still be, so 10 people would weigh what the car weighs. So you don't need an electric motor that can move 4 tons. You just need an electric motor that can move 2 tons because you're going to put 2 tons of ass in here, and then the car is counterweighted by the weight. So generally, probably what you're doing is, like, if you put a counterweight here of 3 tons and you have the car weight of 2 tons, you then say that you can put in, 5 people? You can put 5 people in here for free, essentially. And then the next 5 people is what this motor has to work. So now the motor only has to do 1 ton's worth of work. So that's one way you can do is counterweight your cranes. So that's important to do. So like, let's go back to the game real quick. Let's see if, let's see. It's at one of the houses. Let's teleport real quick. We'll go to the Cape House here. So one thing you can do is counterweighting. That's is something you could do to help. So, like, if you look at the Cape House's crane here, this doesn't really lift its arm at all, but what's going to happen is there would be a force. This would try to push the crane down. It would try to bend it here, right? And so you actually have to worry about this in game because I have a pivot on here, so the pivot is right here for the crane. If I don't counterbalance the arm of the crane, what's going to happen is it's going to try to bend this pivot, and it's not going to work well. So what you want to do is you want to put a counterweight on the crane. So actually with my crane, as this arm goes out, the counterweight goes back to counterweight it because the lever arm is extending. So we'll spawn it real quick. I'll just run this crane real fast. So that prevents torque. So essentially, you know, the more you can counterweight, the better you're going to have for performance. IRL and in-game. All right, so with this crane, as I extend it, if I can remember how I have it set up. There we go. See, the counterweight goes out. Now, the counterweight, because it's so much more heavy than the arm, it does not need to go as much distance. The further the distance, the more force you're putting down. So, again, it's like, you know, I talked about it. If you hold a soda bottle up against your chest, it doesn't weigh very much. You hold it out at arm's length, it's heavy. All right, and the same thing here. As that arm goes out on the right, it's getting heavier and heavier, so the counterweight goes left. Now, because we don't want the counterweight to go the exact same distance as the main arm because it would take up too much space, we make the counterweight way more. So the counterweight is, let's say the arm on the counterweight is 1/10 of the arm on the right. That means you'd want that weight to be 10 times what the weight is of the arm on the right. So that's how you would want to counterweight. So things like that will help to make it. I have so many different control schemes. This one is WS is in and out. But something like this will help as well to make sure that you're counterweighted properly. Yeah, so what would happen is where this is pivoting right there, if I didn't counterweight this properly, it would probably bend and put a lot of force on that pivot. Because the back weighs about what the front weighs, it's very little force on the pivot. And so it makes sure the game doesn't have freaky because it's trying to bend the pivot. You know, so kind of basic stuff on that. But for the most part, again, follow some of the, like, if you go online, you look at like crane diagrams and you see the counterweighting on the cranes, that will help you in game. Adding pistons will help. Like, for example, let's look in we'll go back, show you the force numbers on the pistons. The pistons are very strong. You start to add more pistons, you're adding more strength. You can like I was able to lift Alistair's heavy bus for the most part with 6 pistons. Like if we look at pistons, so look at pivots here. These are 200 motor. This is 200 motor. Now that there is a difference. There's a reason why I don't always use small ones. The small ones I think have more shear ability. So here, let's look at base. Let's get the base plate going here. We'll do a quick example on this. Let's see. Oh, that was a guess and a half right there. So I find these larger pivots more stable. They don't shear as much. They don't try to move the hub from the base as much. Let's merge that up. So like if we look at this here, these smaller pivots, one of the reasons I still use big pivots on a lot of stuff is if we go like this, put electricity on. Let's see. Why is that not pushing it? Let's see. Why are you not pushing? It might be pushing. It might just not show in this example. It might not like it because I merged them. Here, let's demerge them and see what happens. It's probably because I merged them. It doesn't want to do it. So let's go like this, spawn that. Try to push it without merging them. All right, there we go. So see how this one offsets itself? Now these tend to, I find, these are less strong than these. So you can see, like, this one, the pivot moves a little bit more than this one, I find. They still both move, which is helpful. You want them to move. If they didn't move, you get phantom physics. That helps prevent phantom physics. So, like, if we were to do another test here where... Get rid of the pivots. Pistons are kind of tough. They're not really showing me what I want to show you guys. So let's go like this. Cut that, move that. Try to get these even. What do we? 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. All right. So like if we took a bunch of weight blocks and pushed them out on these, I find that the bigger ones, they will flex less. And they cause fewer problems. That's one of the reasons why I do that. That's what I was trying to show with the pistons. It's not really flexing right now, but you will get these problems where this one will want to shear more than this one. That's why I use that. It's not really showing it because I don't have a full build here, so it's pretty strong. You can see they're strong at the moment. If I started making these like, I don't know, subgrid 10, we might start running into problems. So like here. Let's try something here. Let's go ahead and go pivots. Trying to just make subgrids here. Try to make too many subgrids. So like the hierarchy of the subgrid of the colors, you can see all the colors. There's a whole line of colors. And then now if I cut this one and paste it, it's going to the lowest level subgrid. Paste this. May or may not get this to do what I want it to do. We'll see. The problem could be the base there is the way the base... Oh, shit. I gotta cut these as well. Or else this isn't gonna work. Because this will put this back on the old subgrid. So ordering your subgrids will help too. Alright, so those are on the lowest 2 subgrids now. It's still not heavy enough to really cause any problems. If you started doing more and more and more, you would eventually get it to do it. The problem is, like, this is a very basic build. It doesn't have all the other parts of the other vehicle. The masses are generally the same. Like, even though these are subgrids, these don't really have any mass on them. So that's not really doing what I'm showing you. Trying to show you. But I like the bigger ones. I find the bigger ones shear less. They are less floppy, so that's why I use those. The other thing you can do is stack them. So, like, for example, let's say you want to stack... Let's say you want to lift something, an arm. And you go ahead, take pivots. Alright. So you can go, like... so let's say... I want to go inward, actually, probably. So, like, one thing you can do is stack these arms, like so. All right, so what you would do is you would go like this. All right, here's your arm for your crane. All right, look at the color. The color is this blue here. We're going to merge it. Oh, stop that, you bitch. Go like this, merge that. That's all the same subgrid blue. All right, we're then going to delete out that. We're then going to grab power pivots again. It doesn't have to be power pivots, but pivots. All right, now if you notice, that's still blue. Then we merge that to the blue, blue. Now we have 4 pivots moving the blue. So that will add more pivots, giving it more strength. So those are some things you can do. Try to increase the power on it. All right, let's try to get through this and move on a little. How heavy is your wrecker? Try to get the weight on the wrecker on the main body up as well. I don't know when you sent that message, Zachy, what I'm building. How's it going, though, Zachy? Working on Alistair's wrecker, working on a bunch of stuff. Challenge ends, I think it was 18 days the other day. Let me look. I assume Alistair probably already put it, but it's good for me to check myself as well. 15 days. 15 days for the challenge, so I have plenty of time. I just need to work in the back at some point. Sergeant's in 2 places at once. Very nice. All right, thanks, Echo, for hanging out. Glad it made sense. How's it going there, CG? Hello, hello, hello. Often, yes. If you can make the base vehicle heavier, it's going to help. You know, because my understanding of the way the game does it is the game is saying, okay, like, think of it this way, right? If I as a person, like, jump, right, and I land on the earth, right, as I jump away from the earth, I am pushing myself off the earth. I am also pushing the earth away from me. But because I weigh barely anything compared to the earth does move away from me when I jump, but it is minuscule. I, on the other hand, move a huge percentage. So if you did as a percentage, I'm moving 99.9, like let's say the distance between me and the earth becomes half a meter when I jump, right? I'm going to be moving 99.9999999 forever away, you know, of that meter. The Earth is going to be moving a minuscule movement away from me. So by increasing the weight of the base, the game is essentially saying, okay, this is the Earth. Make that strong and not move very much. This is something very light compared to the Earth. Move it more. That would be my guess of how it's working. How's it going, Rasmus? How's it going, Variante? Yeah, that's, are there more, yeah, this, Alistair's talking about, tired of people renaming builds and uploading them as their own. Yeah, it's pretty gross. The golden rule of mechanics. Yes, stack pivots help a lot as well. Let's see. I think I'm going to work on my plan a little. My allergies are finally kicking up for the day, so I'm probably going to go and take a quick allergy pill and a coffee break. And I probably want to work at the plane. I'm going to be darting around from this and that and the other thing. I want to do some tutorials. I want to work on that cooling tutorial. I also want to work on a pumping tutorial, so we'll kind of go on some of that. Oh, we got another person on what do you call it? On Twitch that needs to be booted. There we go. Excellent. I don't think they banned. They might have been already banned on. They're already banned on. Oh, if I could remember, Restream. It must be. Somebody's selling views. No interested in buying views. Screw with that nonsense. I don't know why they do that. Yeah, it looks like they're already banned over on Restream. Oh, okay, yeah, AutoMod took care of it already, so that's why. All right. Yeah, they finally are starting to get rid of the spam messages. Let's see. I'll look at it real quick. Where did you put it? Oh, they took one of Alistair's builds, too? Yeah, I'm just seeing it in there. Yep, unfortunately, the answer to this, I think, is going to be put your builds on as unlisted or don't share them. You know, that's what happens in these communities when people abuse it. You know, is you know, most people are really reasonable. Like, if you put somebody else build up, like, or ask, you say, hey, you know, I redid some stuff in your build. Do you mind if I post to the workshop? Most people would probably say no, but, you know, like, you know, a lot of people, like, are fine if you just credit. Oh, I see where it is. Okay. There, Chris. You know, to credit them at the very least, that's something that's helpful. You know, well, it's respectful. Let's put it that way. It's not helpful. It's respectful. Is like, you know, one, stealing people's shit is not cool. And it's like all you have to do is like, for most people, is credit something. You know, but it's like you don't get to just go like redo somebody's shit and then expect to own it as your own. That was like people kept asking like, oh, how do I rename a build so it doesn't show that it's that person's build? And they're like, well, is it that person's build? Well, I edited some things. Well, yeah, it's still not your build. You didn't build the build. You edited a couple things. You did not build the build. Build a build if you want it to be yours. Otherwise, just let it show it's the other person's build because it's theirs. It's like, for example, if I owned a Ford, but why would I own a Ford? But we'll make it a reasonable car. Let's say I own a Honda, and I cut the Honda badge off and I put my name on it. Yeah, I bought the car, but I didn't build the car. There's a reason why the Honda badge is on there, because Honda built the car, you know? Now, let's look at this real quick. Let's see. What do you get from masses going on? What's the total mass? See, like, this crane is very light. Can we see my screen? Let me check real quick. Yeah, okay, we can see my screen. Crane's pretty light, this Chris crane. You know, overall mass is 9207. Like, let's look at my wrecker. My wrecker weighs 8,900, so we're within about 400 we're within 400 mass of one another. You know, and you see the size difference. So one thing is, I would weight the crane up like crazy. So let's do a test pull. I don't need all this shit, all this nonsense here. Interested with pulleys. This could be a problem here too. This linear track system's not going to be great. Let's go ahead and do something real quick here. You know, it's not done, so I do understand that. Like, some people, again, drive me nuts. Like, some people will be like, looks like a box. It's like, dude, it is not done. It's nowhere near done. It's like, I hate it when people, like, comment stuff like that on builds that you can tell, like, they're not done. Like, I can tell, this build's not done. It would be silly to comment, like, you know, behaving as though it is done. So I don't know what that is. So we're at 92 or 11, so we're talking 2 and change. That's just... Actually, I don't want to keep editing. Let's do that. Let's spawn it real quick. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. What was that? I just pressing buttons for some reason. What am I, endo? What does the mag all do? I don't know what any of this shit does. Oh, those are supports. All right, I just want to lift. Let's look. Slewing, boom, up, down, WS. Okay. All right, so that's the performance with... All right. Well, that's not going to teach me anything anyways. I didn't put the supports out. But, let me put the supports out. Again, especially if you're going to ask for help, make sure you label these things before. It's like, it's tough to, like, go out there and you know, like, it's nothing's labeled, and now I'm trying to help, and I have no clue what anything does, you know? See, this too, like, having the linear track on power all the time, that's not helpful. And then, what's extension? What extends this out? Again, the other thing, too, is understanding that, you know, super long cranes, like, they also... You know, you have to worry about how far out they are as well. That's that. See, these are on. Okay. So like that is with stock stuff. So that's stock without weight. All right, so let's go start adding some weight and see what it looks like. So we want to prioritize this. So we're at with the lifting weight, we're at 11,977. All right, what's that at? 31. I bet you I ballsed up the... I might not have ballsed up the lifting mechanism. Let's see. Still looks all right. Why are those not going down anymore? Shit. Why are those not going down anymore? Did I blocked them with something? Probably. Yeah, right in here. Okay. I accidentally went up. I didn't mean to do that. Here, let's just grab the build again. I just don't want to spend too much time on this. We'll get, what were we? 11 and, like, 11.7 was where I was. All right, there's even more weight. So we saw what it did before. Let's try. I'm gonna try to be cognizant of not blocking anything. Just gotta stay away from the supports there. All right, so what is that mass-wise? We're up to 17. Alright, so this is going to make the main body heavier, so there's 25. Hopefully this works. Why are these not working anymore? What the Christ is going on here? Why are these tracks not moving now? See if we probably don't need it at this point anyway. Let's just... I just want to do the test and move on here. All right, so the base is heavier now. So the arm seems stronger now. The arm itself is not slacking like it was. I can't get those magulls to work now. But, and then what is this way? This has got to be too light in here. Yeah, so you have no counterweight. Well, you have batteries. I don't know why you have huge batteries in here. Like, what's a large battery weigh? What do you weigh? 800? What's the size of these? They've got to be huge. 5 by 5 by what? 5 by 5 by 5 maybe? I don't know. No, it's more than that, I think. 5 by 5 by 6. So 5 by 5, 25 times 6, 6, 180, 6, 5, 30. So so what? 210, something like that. 210, that's 21. Okay. Just trying to keep a quick mass in my head. So again, by counterweighting the arm, that's going to help. Well, we're not actively counterweighting the arm. We're increasing the mass to the to this segment. So this green segment is getting increased mass. We're not actively counterweighting the arm itself. Like, what was the mass on this? Let's look. Do this last test and we'll get at it. 28. Jesus Christ. I'll add a little bit while I'm here, seeing that in the editor 12 times. Let's see. So again, the longer the arm, the more the arm is going to weigh because of torque. And so by adding counterweight, that counterweights that. Because one of the things that's happening too, I think, is with a lot of these pivots, the physics, what it's doing is once it tilts it, it's the game. The way these work in real life is you have a central pivot connection, then you usually have these roller wheels in a track that actually rolls, and the issue becomes if you start to twist the pivot is supposed to be a non-movable object. Now I showed how it does have some give, but it's really not supposed to bend all that much, and so you're starting to give it phantom forces when it bends. So by preventing the bending by counterweighting properly, you will counteract some of these phantom forces that are going on. So now you notice the base is moving, and the base of the vehicle is moving because the arm is heavy. The arm segment is heavy. So again, the game is prioritizing what is heaviest, which I wouldn't say the arm is the heaviest now, but because the arm is heavier, it is starting to move the base of the vehicle. So like now your arm is not dropping down at all. Yeah. So I would start trying to make the base segment, the carriage, the cab heaviest. Make the crane segment right here next heaviest. Especially if you're going to paint this gray, like I would not add weight out here, but you could add weight, for example, in here. Come on, drag. You could add weight in here. God damn it. Can we get the thing that I want? There we go. Yeah, right there. Let's see. Right there. Okay. So like I would weight it up here. I would not be weighting it up towards the tip. That's counterproductive. You're just cutting down what you'll be able to lift. And then probably added too much weight onto the here. Probably I would cut some of this out. Yeah, the other thing too is I know a lot of people don't like to do this, but like build a small crane that works and does your job, then scale up, do the next one. People jump to like making the biggest thing ever, and again, you're compounding your problems. You have to be more and more precise because it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So, I would start out small first. All right, so this is likely having phantom forces because it is bending the pivot. That's why we're having phantom forces. Likely we're hitting the pivot on something. So that is probably what's happening. Is like see how like likely you're glitching in. Yeah, you can see it right there. You're glitching into the deck. So that's another thing. Like I would put wedges on the side of this, and then we'll get off this. But like so these are sharp edges. So what's going to happen is this pivot is going to bend right here. And that's going to force a sharp edge here into a sharp edge here, and you're going to have problems. What would be better is go ahead and do this. Get rid of some of your sharp edges. And now you're going to have less of a likelihood of that hitting something. So like, say, for example, this. That's going to be less of a chance of blocks glitching in one another. A better thing is to have a gap. But, yeah, those are just some tips on what I would do. I'll just change the name of the bus. Let's see. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go take a quick coffee break. Yeah, but I would just work on it. Going. A lot of people will just jump right to the biggest possible build they can build. I would go small, make sure it works. Move on to the next one, make it bigger, because, it's like real-life engineering, right? It's reasonably easy to make something small and light. You make something bigger, you start to run into problems, right? You used to be able to use aluminum. Now you have to use steel because it's too heavy. The arm is now heavier, and the aluminum will bend where the steel won't. Well, then the problem is, well, now the whole weight of the crane goes up. Well, that means you need different tires. The other thing I would do, I would get rid of on your crane that I just thought of is, like, all your wheels are on suspension. I would get rid of your suspension wheels and I put them on hard axles. That's going to get the crane bouncing. Once the crane is bouncing, the weight's going to bounce. That's going to cause funky behavior. Put it on hard axles. There's no reason this crane needs to be on suspension. You know, I would not put this crane on suspension at all. That is just, I think, a recipe for disaster as well. All right, I'll go quick coffee break. And I'll be back. Thank you, Zizo. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Zizo. Put you in the Hall of Fame there, or whatever I call it. I can't remember what I call it. Recognition. There we go. Recognition. Put you in the old recognition. Thank you. Thank you much. Appreciate it. All right, let's get off the coffee banner. Yeah, but trial and error on that. You know, it oftentimes, you know, like people put out like some tips that are like general use cases, and I think you always have to take everything with a grain of salt. Is like, one, it's like, how well did somebody test something? Two, like, of course they're trying to tell you quickly in an oversimplified way. You know, so like, for example, the cooling test, right? People say, oh, you know, the higher the flow rate, the better. That's a great statement, right? But the higher the liquid flow rate, the better. We went through this the other day. Infinite electricity should be off for this. You know, for example, this one, because I'm using a gas, it appears that the flow rate is fantastic, but this thing sucks at cooling because it's pushing air, which doesn't cool well in this situation. So, like, that breaks that rule, you know. The lower the RPS, the better at cooling. Sure, but if you have an insane amount of load on, even if you're going like 3 RPS, you can overheat because the load is very high. It's a balancing act between load and RPS. You can run a really high RPS with very, very little load, and you'll realize it doesn't overheat very fast. For example, this is one of... Here. This one's a 2-1. That's my control. This one's my other control. We'll go a 3-1. Here, we'll do them in order. We'll do a 1-1. We'll do a 2-1. And here's the last control. This one will be a 3-1. All right, so those are the 3 controls, right? Now, they're all going to rev around the same RPS. It might go a little higher because it doesn't have the load on it. But we can see we're decreasing the load. That's 22. That is at 20. That is at 15. It makes sense, right? You are putting more load on it. You're putting resistance on the engine. So let's see. I don't even know in this case which one's going to overheat first. But this one's a 1-to-1. So this should be moving at 22, making 3 SWatts. This one's making, is at 42, making 11 SWatts. This one here is at 56, making 20 SWatts. All right. So we'll see which one of those overheats first. Thank you very much, Manda. Make sure you thank Manda there, Variante. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know, so all this stuff matters, and you kind of have to... It's not as easy as saying, like, oh, lower RPS is better. For certain people, yeah, because if they lower their RPS a little bit, the amount of load they have in their engine is low enough that... I showed it last time, like I made a little silly graph where there's a certain RPS at a certain load where you're going to overheat, and if you go below that, you're not going to overheat. And so, like, you tell one person, yeah, just lower your RPS, and that engine won't overheat. You're going to tell somebody else, and they have the engine so overloaded that even at that lower RPS setting, it may overheat. You know. This one's probably getting close. This one is at 49C. This one is at 63C. And what prediction? This one's going to be higher than 63. 76. Right? So that makes sense. This one is at the highest RPS, but it is at the coldest temperature. This one is at the middle RPS. It is at the middle temperature. And this one is at the, I think, yeah, the lowest RPS. Yeah, that one's definitely lowest, but I couldn't remember the number. That's at the lowest RPS at the highest temperature. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. Load. We've put load on the engine, so it's a relationship between RPS and load. You can run at high RPSs at low load and not overheat. You can run at medium settings where you balance the RPS and the load, and you will not overheat. You can run them where you have too much load and very low RPS, and you will overheat. You know, so it's really like, it's more complicated and that's why some people say, oh, the game doesn't make any sense. It's like, it does. You just don't know, you know, you're not thinking of all the different cases, and you're thinking of RPS is what makes heat. No, a combination of RPS. RPS is essentially fuel burn, how much fuel burn you're doing. The load is also part of that factor as well, so you got to consider that as well. All right, this one's overheated. Yep, this one overheated 170 seconds. This one is not counting for some friggin' reason. Oh, because I'm on the wrong one. That one's at 191 and still counting. This one is at 197 and still counting. So this one has the lowest RPS, but the most load. It overheated first. All right. We'll let the other two run. Now, this one here is at 78, and this one here is at 105. I think we can guess this one is going to overheat next. It has a lower RPS than this one, but it has double, you know, I won't say double load. It's not necessarily 100% linear, so. You know, so you really have to understand the relationship between these things because, again, you know, people will go on Discord, they'll ask somebody for help. You know, somebody does, in fact, try to help them. They give them what works in 90% of the cases. But then they, you know, and the problem is, oh, this guy told me lower my RPS and I won't overheat. Boo, game broken. Boo, fix cooling. You don't need to fix cooling. Cooling is fine. Now, there are some things that could use some buffing. I absolutely agree with that. There are always balancing things. But, you know, again, you have to understand that relationship between the different things. Right, this one took 220 seconds. So, again, lowest RPS, highest load, took 170. All right, medium load, medium RPS, took 220. All right, and they'll all overheat. None of these have cooling. All right, this one is still going at 277. Now, what this tells you is, for example, I know Alistair's talked about it, Citrus has talked about it recently, of building craft like cars that have no cooling whatsoever. If you have very little load, now, Load is also a function of how big your engine is. If you have a big engine, you know, they talk about this of an under-stressed motor is essentially an underloaded engine. This happens a lot in, for example, say you have a tractor to pull a tractor trailer, and you have a 500 horsepower engine that you're running artificially at low RPS, so it's essentially outputting 400 horsepower. That engine is going to last you longer than a 500. That same engine that is putting out its 500 horsepower because it's running a higher RPS. Essentially, if you consider engines have a revolution life, they can. I ran out of fuel, maybe. Let me see. Nope, we hit 110. Okay, we did hit 110. Okay. I didn't think we hit 110 yet. So this one took 334 seconds to get to overheat. This one here took 220. This one here took 170. Again, so when somebody tells you, oh, the lower the RPS to fix your cooling, sure. I guarantee you we could run this test again. And we'll run the test again real quick. Let's go in here. Let's go to, we have 25 max RPS. Let's go 10. Okay, let's do it the other way. Let's try to get them. I can't. I got to go low. Okay, let's go 10. 10. Let's go 15. I don't want this to take all day. 15. Let's just go 20. Screw it. 20. Let's go 15. I'm trying to get it to the back one to match up. So let's go 20. Or 15, rather. And let's make, which one's this? This one? I can't tell which one I'm looking at. Here, this one here. So we'll make these all 15. So now they're running at lower RPS values. So the prediction should be these will take longer to overheat. We have reduced the RPS. So this one before started up around 15. This one has a higher load on it. This one is now, why is it at 21? Where the fuck is it still at 21? I don't know, I gotta look at it. These are over revving again, so I gotta check them. All right, but anyways, that's the thing. So like, just telling somebody something simple like, oh, reduce RPS and you'll you won't have to worry about overheating. Not necessarily the case. Does it help? Absolutely, 100%. Reducing the load. You could make an engine that runs at really high revs that will not overheat. It just has to have an insanely low, like you could probably do like here, if you did this, it would have no use, but like you do some modular engine, eventually like, you know, you literally, you can make them so they don't overheat like this. You could take a somewhat big modular engine, like say, I don't know, make it 4 cylinders and hook absolutely nothing up to it. Don't even put a clutch on there, and put no resistance whatsoever on there, and you can probably run it at a reasonably high RPS and it will not overheat. You start putting a bunch of resistance on it, yeah, it's going to overheat. It's the friction, right? You are actively putting friction in the system. You are like, it's like you're trying to turn your bike wheel and I'm holding on to it. It's going to cause your legs to burn because you have resistance. You have a braking force on there. So keep that in mind. But that's generally what it is. I don't even know why I got on that topic, but let's work on the plane a little bit here. All right, let's get the controllers done for the door. This one was, I have to figure this out, what I want to do here. I generally don't like timing situations because timing can be problematic. Now, what I would love the devs to do is this. This is what I want the devs to do with small pivots, okay? I don't think I did a video on this. I'll do a video on it. So, now, I understand why they're reluctant to do it because, again, you get some people who are confused by this. But, like, if we look at the nodes, we actually shouldn't need to do it. What I'd like them to do is add a composite node on these small pivots. So we have rotation target. That's it on these small pivots. What I'd like them to do is add a composite node. And I'd like them to add it right here on the head. So we'll have a green target and a composite. Now, the green target will do rotation target, current rotation, That's what I would like to see it do, because if you know current rotation, you can make sure something never hits, and that's what I do with my landing gear. All of these doors are based off of the current position of the wheel. If the wheel is down, the doors are closed. As soon as the wheel goes in the intermediary position, the doors are open. Anytime the wheel is in the intermediary position, the doors are open. As soon as the wheel goes all the way up, the doors close. So the doors will never get stuck with this wheel. If I pull a lot of G-forces when I'm trying to push the wheel up, the wheel will move slower than if I'm pushing no G-forces, and the doors will still work perfectly. That's the problem with timing. Is let's say you spawn a couple vehicles with some friends and the game slows down the physics. Guess what's going to happen to your gear? Your gear are going to start malfunctioning, because if you do it by timing, if the physics slows down a little bit, theoretically you could have a problem where now your timing is off in your gear and they get hung up. So it would be nice on this. I have to do timing now for this door. If I could read the current position of the door, anytime the door is open, this will allow the ladder to go up and down. If the ladder is not up and down, if the ladder's not inside, the door will not close. So you can set those conditions in there. All right, Chris going for food. Yeah, I was thinking of adding another games thing at some point already. So I'll add that at some point. Let's see what I want to do here. Yeah, let's work on this. All right. So I have to do timing. I really would rather not. So I'd like the devs to add that composite node to read, because that would be really helpful. Yeah, other games, yep. Pick up chickens, that'll be good. Hopefully they do something with farming. I wonder if anyone's responded to my novel. It's good fodder for the grouchy grouchies. You can see that's one they would comment on here. All right. Let's go and figure out how I want to do this. Let's see. Air stairs. Let's see. We're going to have to do... All right, so let's go do text. All right, so we're gonna do. Change that. Shit, I didn't mean to do that, all that. But... Crap, I didn't mean to kill all that I did. Okay, I'll do that. All right, we're gonna have states here, so be. Alright, so we have some states here for the doors, so we need... Yeah, it's coming to bug me. So. Catch up with chat here. Yeah, I can imagine paramotor's probably tough. Alright, so let's go up, down on that. That. Let's go 0.001. The door, I want... Change how I want this, I think. Need that. Let's see. Ladder. So this door needs to go. let's update this real quick. Cat's just trying to do whatever he can to bug me. Let's see. Positive is in, negative is out. Okay. Positive is in, negative is out. Okay. That's good. Positive is in, negative is out. So that's stairs. Okay, stairs. Okay. Positive, I think. Positive, all right. All right, let's see. So I'm trying to make sure the stairs don't hit the door and vice versa. So in order to, so when we start the load the game in or load the vehicle in, it's going to be 0. So 0 is going to cause the stairs to go. It's going to cause the stairs to go up all the way. When the stairs have reached their all away position, which is 1, and we are at 0, it is going to close the door. All right. So now to open the door, we're just going to signal the open of the door at 1, and then to let the ladder out, we want to do it the opposite way here, which is going to be if the door is reading 1, like that. All right. So hopefully that will be somewhat reasonable. Let's run that. All right, let me fix these numbers here. I want this flipped correctly. That's what I wanted. All right. Probably all fucked up now that I've moved it like 9 times. 1, 2. Okay, good. That's too slow, but that's what we want to do. Okay, I forgot it's not supposed to go all the way to a 1 on the door, so I gotta fix that. I think it was like 0.9 or 0.95, something like that. Try 0.9. I'm gonna take all day if I do it this slow. I gotta fix it. Let's see. Never close the door though. Why is that? Alright, the stairs are between 0.89. Oh, that's why. Okay. That's why this should be 1. I should probably put more variance in that. Just have them backwards. I think I just got the numbers fucked up. Here, let me fix the numbers. All right. Up. Let's do this. So down should be 3 and 4 essentially. So let's do that. 3, 4, 1, 2. I don't know what I just did. Let's see. So why did the stairs not come back down? Should be pressing 3 and 4 to go down, which should increase them. Yep, that's correct. That should go up to 1. When it goes up to 1, so when when it's 1 and the door should be 0. The door is open and I have it on 1, the air stairs should go down. All right, door closes. Stairs are at point 8. Stairs down is negative. I don't know why that comes out so soon. Weird. Not the end of the world, but... Get a little bump on it. It's not the end of the world. Not too bad without a position sensor on there, so... Somebody, it's so slow! Well, too bad. I don't care. So that's not working right. Okay. Four. That's why. Okay. Alright, good. That should work now. Alright, good. So I like that. That works. And so we put that on both sides. Jesus Christ. Alright, let's go like this. Alright, good. So doors are set up. Do a little structure on the ceiling here. Try and get a little bit more roughed out structure. Let's see. So 81. Okay. If only I had symmetry on, that would be fantastic. All right. That's kind of a funky spot to put it there, but I can actually fix some stuff if I do that. So let's screw it, see what I can do here. Gotta worry about the containers. The containers are what? The containers are 11s. Oh yeah, we're good on the containers. I'm gonna add facade on there. Alright. Nice. Without that hitting. Shit. Well, I gotta hit something there. Do remeasure. Come on, drag, you sucker. 74, 75. Okay, 75. $38. Can't go there, I don't think. Let's see. Yeah, that's right there, so I can't go there. Definitely don't want it even. All right. Something maybe divisible by 4. Right, divisible by 4 is going to be best. Let's see. Right on the money. That's going to be a pain in the ass. I know it is. Okay. That's 1 off, so that's not bad. All right, that'll work. Let's try something here. I'll see if I like it or not. You get a little bit of texture in here, kind of like albatross has some texture in it. See if they want these vertical. Probably not. Probably go like that, I'd say. And I gotta fix this last segment here with something. Brum's gonna stand. That'll work, alright. Okay, let's see what's the measure between them. Stop that. 14. Never good. Let's see. Stop. Okay, I'm digging that, I think. Let's go take a walk through that, see how it feels in there. That'll give us good shading opportunities and faceting and stuff like that. There we go. That's good. That looks good. Industrial. Give us plenty of places to connect to. That gives some life to it. All right, good. I like that. All right, let's get some chat here. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Manda. Amanda's talking about what the new missions are tomorrow. They did. Let's look at it real quick. They did come out with the talk to upcoming release dates, which is good. Talk about so it'll be 3rd of July. Minor update with some new mission content and fixes. So fixes always nice to see. New mission content. Particularly small minor update. I was talking when I did the video last time that I think the particularly small, I think is, I don't think they would be like, oh, we're just doing a tiny update. I think it's more, it could be something miniature. I don't know. That would just be my guess. They like to put cute little things in that, little hints, so that could be it. Maybe it's not. 31st, minor update and some new mission content. Rebalancing and fixes. Rebalancing is interesting. I always like to see that. For example, like so much of what people complain about is balancing, and balancing is tough to complain. Like, let's put it this way. Balancing is not tough to complain about. Balancing is the thing that is always open for discussion, but people need to realize balance is a compromise. It's like when people constantly bitch about sinking ships being too slow. Well, again, like the Titanic sank in 2 hours and 40 minutes. That would be too long in game. I like realism, but I do not want it to take 2 hours and 40 minutes to sink a ship in game. Now, in real life, you had over 1,000 people to evacuate from the Titanic. I'm sure they all thought the 2 hours and 40 minutes flew by for them. But in a game, you don't want, like maybe you and 4 friends are going to be trying to get off the Titanic. You don't want to take 2 hours and 40 minutes, maybe 20 minutes to get through the ship, to launch a lifeboat, get on a lifeboat, and watch the boat sink. The difference is it's a balancing thing, and everybody has these balancing issues. Now, for example, a rebalancing thing that I think would be useful is increase the amount, the liters per second through a fluid port. That would, I think, alleviate a lot of issues people are having. And it would be a good balance thing. That is balance. So when people say the devs broke sinking because it takes forever to fill up my ship, that is balancing. And a lot of those people are not thinking about the other consequences. For example, if you allow fluid to come through a door too fast, it pressurizes the room too fast, and you suffocate, or you don't suffocate, you get pressurized and you get killed too fast. And so that would ruin the gameplay for a lot of people. So they have to balance these things that some of these people are not even thinking about. So could be like, for example, cooling rebalancing. I have no problem with, this is part of the problem, is there is some balancing that makes sense already with the way we have cooling in game. For example, a lot of the larger air cooling apparati, are they're very, very inexpensive. They don't cost you a lot of money. The problem is a lot of people play this game as a custom game where they never care about how much something costs because they have infinite money on. They spawn some small build that costs 400,000. They never care about that. Other people like me play where I play career, and the amount something costs is important. So, for example, to spam a bunch of 5x5 electric radiators, if you don't care about cost, yeah, why not? Spam a ton of 5x5 radiators. If you do care about cost, it's definitely more cost effective to do some of the air coolers. All right, so that is a balancing thing, but some of the people don't care about the money. So like one rebalancing thing I would like to see is I would like a better buff to air-to-air coolers. They're already cheaper, and they're cheaper because it's realistic to be cheaper because the components should be less money. I would like them to get a buff on cooling. So yes, a 9x5 radiator or a 9x5 air-to-air cooler should cool better than a 5x5 radiator. It should be cheaper, and it should cool better because it takes up a lot of space in your build. So if you want to do a ship or a train, maybe it's better to do that air-to-air cooler because it takes up a lot of space. Well, you have extra space in a train. You don't in a car. So in a car, you use the more expensive electric radiator because you need something compact and very efficient. If you have the space, it's better to go big and cheap, And so stuff like that's good. Next major update, August. So we'll be interested in seeing what that is as well. But good point there. So I'm curious what that is. We'll see when the missions come. Animal rescue would be really cool. I'd like the ability to resuscitate animals. Rescuing the animals would be really cool. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and yeah, so I like the ribbon in here. That looks good. That puts a lot of detail in here. The other thing is on the bases and up here, I'll put anchors for anchorage. Very nice. Okay, good. So that's coming along nicely here. I like the cockpit. I like the general flow in here. That's coming along nicely. Let's work on the rear door here. So the rear door is kind of a multi-phase door. Let's save. We'll do a precautionary save. Oh, shit. What was that message? I think it was was it on the build you put up, Alistair? I had a response message. I think it was probably. Where'd you put that and say what, Alistair? The build somebody stole from you? I think I just got a ping on. Oh, there it is. Yeah, let me look. That's probably where it was because it was you responding to something. I bet it was on there. Yeah, I did a response here. I'm not gonna go through it. I'll just talk about one section of it. That is so like right here. Let me see what I talk about. Yeah, so some people think it's prudent to use Steam as their own personal cloud storage, so they upload the builds for that purpose. I would greatly caution people against doing that. That costs Steam money. Very few corporations just give shit away for free forever. They quickly realize, oh, we need extra money this quarter, and guess what they're going to come running for? They're going to come for your free cloud storage you're using on Steam. So I would be cautious of that for some people who use it for that. You're going to ruin it for everybody. That's usually how it happens. Is a bunch of people ruin it by they used it as their own cloud storage, and eventually Steam's like, oh, we can monetize this. So I think that is very short-sighted of people instead of going and getting a portable hard drive. Little bit off topic, but that was. I see that quite a bit. People using Steam as their own personal storage. It's like. Now, one thing, again, nothing's free from a corporation. Now, they could have it initially look like free because what they're doing is they're stealing your data by you posting these builds on there and they take the data. That is something that corporations do. So, they could be doing something like that. But it's like, when you get free storage on these things, it's not free. It is they're using your data. And it's they're training AI a lot now with people's data like that. So it's like I would keep an eye out for that. Like you're not getting anything free from a corporation, frankly. It's generally they're doing something with it like that. That was like Facebook. If you get a Facebook account for free, it's not really free. Is they're taking your data and they're selling it. That's how they're giving you Facebook for free. Is they're selling your data. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's like, yep, that's what they're doing. This front's a little funky there. I don't hate it, but it's a little weird. It's all right, though. Back door is what I want to work on next, Giggity. Okay, let's work on this. So, let's articulate the door. Yeah. I need to get rid of the jack stands, but work on this door here for the ramp. This also works as a tail stand. If you don't know what a tail stand is, in a lot of cargo planes, right, again, the way you balance a plane is the center of gravity should be right around here, about the center of lift, and you put the center of lift with center of gravity. That means you need a smaller elevator because, again, like we were talking about with the elevator, the cab of an elevator, if the elevator weighs 2 tons and you counterweight it with a weight that weighs 2 tons, all the electric motor is doing is moving the people inside. That's it. Same thing with an airplane. If the center of gravity is at the center of lift, right, you could take your fingertip and you could pitch the plane with your fingertip if it was balanced on on a pivot. And so that's what you want, so that the elevator doesn't need to be too strong. The elevator should not be lifting huge amounts of weight. The tail is counterbalancing the front of the fuselage, and so the elevator is minimal strength needed. And so you have to worry about, because the center of gravity is here, imagine I'm loading a vehicle in the back of the plane. The center of gravity now shifts aftwards, and we sit on our tail. So a lot of cargo planes will have tail stands, so I probably am actually using this as a tail stand. So that, like, a tail stand would go down, and then let's say we lower the ramp and whatever's heavy sits on, well, the ramp will also prevent it as well, but if it sat on that, it would hit the tail stand and not go down. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. .43, okay. And actually what we're going to do is I'm going to copy this. It's essentially the same thing going on with the ramp here. What was that one? Just a block, okay. All right, so the doors is essentially that tail stand, and then this is going to be 0.43, and then it's going to be from 0. Let's run that. Door is going to be screwy. I got to fix that. The door segment here. That's going to be started at 0. It's already starting at 0. It's going to 1. That's fine. All right. Hopefully, we'll see. All right, that's backwards on the ramp. Yeah. Stick it up your ass. Ramp's backwards. All right, let's rethink this here real quick. All right, if we are at 1, we want the ramp to, no, balls. Yep, this has to be 0. Let's go through it. All right, so 0, ramp is going to be 0, and that is at 0. The ramp is going to be up. All right, if we're at 1, we want the ramp to go down. If we do 1, we want to... All right, if 1 and what? That needs to go down there. So if we're at 1, we want this to increase up to 1. If this is at 0, we want this to decrease, and the threshold will be where? To be 0.4 to 1. What the hell am I doing here? My God, what am I doing here? There we go. All right. All right, so the tail stand goes down, the ramp goes down. Okay, up. There we go. So we probably want to get the... This does have position on it. You can go current rotation on this, so I can actually do this better like this. That's what I'll do. I'm gonna screw this off a little bit here. Let's just start fresh. Nope, let's not start fresh. Don't be rash. Very rash sometimes. All right. So this is actually what I generally like to do, is take the current rotation off of the ramp. Because what we can do is that flap will work with where the ramp position is. So what we would do is go... Did I disconnect it somehow? I did, probably. What's going on here? Yep, this disconnected itself. It's like when we back it up, it's not rejoining it. All right, so down position is 0.11, 0.107. So if it's greater than so 0.12, and then we want 0. It works, but it will make it work better. So 0.1 to 0.01, we'll say. Okay. Okay, that goes to the ramp, and then what we'll do is we'll read the ramp position. Makes it really easy. And then Alright, then what we want to do is grab a threshold, and so we're going to say between 0.01 and 0.1, we want this, no. Okay, that should do. Alright, so that opens. So now this is like we were talking about. If you do it like this, that will never hit because the only time this flap will go up is when the ramp is in its up position. Alright, what did it get on that? Interesting. Okay, let's see if I can get a wedge block in there. I think I'm hitting something that I don't want to be hitting. Try to see where the flapper door is. It's kind of a pain in the ass to see. Let's see. Where the hell is this flapper door part? I'm trying to see where it is. Right here. Okay, what is that then? I gotta see what it is. That's what I do with all my landing gear. That way it doesn't hit. Right, it is right off of those. Why is that like that then? Interesting. It looks like just straight up block. I don't know why I even did that. Right off the hinge. Let's look. Be right here. Okay, right there. Alright, so let's go. I don't even need it, but I'm going to put something there as kind of like a joining piece. Alright, so let's go. We'll do block. Wedge. Alright, let's try that. That should be less likely to hit. There we go. Alright, perfect. That works well. Okay, nice. Alright, so that's good. We got the ramp in. Heli, Lil JC in letters. How are you? Doing well, how are you? Good to see you. Alright, so that's good. Ramp door is complete. Side doors are complete. We got a little bit in there. We could work on, let's get this a little bit zhuzhed up here. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how I want to convert this out. So I could put the APU in the tail here, so that's something I'm thinking about working on. Oh, it has this flap too. Where's... Am I even controlling this flap? What am I doing with it? No, this flap's not going up, is it? It's supposed to be going up this flap, but I don't have it going up yet, so I gotta fix that. Okay, let's see. What could I put in there? Don't want to do that. Try to do that, and then see, this needs to go up, and this is the fold area here. If I can, I'm gonna put my APU in this right there. Let's go. That's gonna rotate there. I gotta get this rotation fixed here. So what we'll do is this will essentially. Let's try to run the same numbers. It will be a miracle if it works. Let's see. Let's go test that for the flapper door. That helps us get more space to get that up there. Okay. That works. All right, good. That works. That flap door, you just give us a little bit of extra headspace there. Okay. All right, then we'll put APU in there. So let's see. Any way I can continue this and integrate it? Probably not. No, it's going to hit there if I do that. Yeah, I don't want to go too angular in the back there. The hook how's the four theirs. I think that's good there. It's in here. It's on either side of the tailplane. Okay, good. Then we'll put the APU in the tail so I can get that APU in. And then should be able to get an a little bit tight for an APU in back here. Yeah, a little bit tight for an APU back there. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to get the APU back there. Could Probably put the APU somewhere else. Probably put it in a hip. Work on this gantry crane in here. Something I could do. That way we can start trying to play with loading containers again. Already loaded containers. We know it will work. I just need to redo some of the gantry stuff. Work on the putting the gantry crane in here. That'll be good. One off. That is one off. Let's measure. All right, and let's see. Do a quick test. Filling that out. All right, let's go. Oh, thank you there, King Sheep. Appreciate it. All right, that's good. And then we want to do up, down, sticky. Okay. Put a save on this. See how well I can get this in here. Yeah, like there's a bunch of things that the devs have done over the years that are really good that, you know, of course they never get credit for it. But like, for example, redoing like, you know, as far as rebalance is what I'm thinking about, is like rebalancing wise, redoing the weight of the containers, simplifying the containers a little bit. That was a big help because they were much harder. It was much harder to load ships before. It's much more reasonable now because again, the ships are artificially light, and so by having the containers need to be artificially light as well. You know, what else did they do? They did a bunch of that of like weight hoppers recently. That was something that was good. You know, it's like they've talked about in the Q&A. They're open to some of these things, but you just gotta like put it in there and ask for rebalancing, they're open to it. Okay. So like even with that container sitting in the rear, you see how it's still sitting flat, so. All right. So let's go ahead. I might not be able to reach the gantry, so like want to be able to walk on either side of these containers. So okay, those are not wide enough, so that's why that blew up. How did I mismeasure that? I'm eyeballing. It's the problem. Okay, I meant to go out on these and I didn't. That was the whole reason of doing it, was to go out on these. Why I did this bullshit here was to go out. Okay. Symmetry's always off when you don't want it off, huh? That's when the game will freak out, is you got two immovable objects. That's when it's like, nope, not doing it. All right, so likely what we're doing is, so see, it's not angling because the tracks are not releasing, so I got to put a release button on the tracks. Let's get in there and do that. Let's go, I don't know, let's say 6 for now. Toggle 6, okay, that's good. And then let's go, so we want this last segment here to release the connector. So that, because the container it's holding on, and then you do that, and it will actually let go of the track segment. So I probably should open the friggin' door, huh? Yeah, I would love to see them do like I said, the plane update. That'd be cool to have some plane missions. Hopefully they do that. That'll be right up my alley. I don't anticipate that, but so now you see how it's angling itself now. That's because of it's not it's not on the tracks anymore. Let's see. What's it doing? It's probably trying to jam that up. Let's go ahead and detach this. I didn't merge them because that was trying to force itself into the ceiling. So. That's interesting. Let's merge those before it causes weird behavior. All right, there we go. Give me that battle cannon that I clicked on already. Thanks. I like having winches, but the issue is that it will hard to get it to align. The door is very, very tight, so it's better to have a hard connection for this, just for that factor alone. All right, 6 will disconnect when that gets to the end. So you see it just came off the rails there, and now it will angle itself. Okay, and then we want to detach it. Fuck, I didn't hook them up. I didn't rehook those up. Come on, where's the handle? There's. All right, good. So let's see. I can go further on this gantry track too, so to get it all the way out. All right, good. So that's starting to work. All right, let's go and let's extend the gantry track. Oh, I gotta remember where the flap is too. So the flap is gonna come up quite a. Flap's pretty tight. So let's go to here. Okay, and then we'll grab this gantry track. The other thing to do to help strengthen this up, if I could ever get to where I need to be, is here we go, and then all right, if you could just go where I want you to, there you go. All right. Oh, I didn't rehook up the the trigger key. Let me do that. Trigger is going back to these two there. All right, good. Blink the connector. Well, that's the thing is, you know, it's, you know, the problem is you get people who are like thoroughly disgruntled and just give the devs shit all the time, and if you ever say anything that's not giving them shit, they think you're some sort of fanboy. It's like, no, dude, there's plenty of things of disagreement. It's like, it's just like some people are unreasonable, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, I have plenty of things that, you know, I disagree. For example, like, but the other thing too is like, I understand that the game is not made for just me, you know, and that's a lot of people say just, if it's not for me, it's wrong. And it's like, that's a bullshit attitude. That's a selfish attitude. And some of those people have that attitude. Why is this not going back? God damn it, I gotta fix this. You know, that's a bullshit and selfish attitude. And so some people have that attitude in the community, which is 4. That's why I had it on the wrong key. It's supposed to be 2. You know, that's a bullshit attitude. It's like, you know, like, for example, I put up that somebody was asking if they should buy the game. And again, my thing is always like, I do not want somebody who will not like this game to buy this game. Because all that does is add another disgruntled jerk that's going to come yell nonsense all day. We don't need that. If you would enjoy the game, I would recommend it to you. If you don't, then I don't, you know, and it's, and so it's like the, what was it? So, like, for example, you know, they're talking about, oh, you know, the regular game is rated pretty well, the DLCs not so much. Well, even if the DLCs were perfect for the people who would like the DLC, the DLC is focused on a small part of the community. So, for example, let's say you did a farming DLC. There are a bunch of players who do not care about farming, and because they don't care about farming, no matter how good the farming DLC is, they won't like it. Because it's not what they're interested in. Now, some people who are selfish are jerks and are like, oh, because you gave these people over here what they wanted, you somehow picked my pocket because it was, you know, you gave them what they wanted at the expense of me. And that, I think, is a bullshit attitude. Is, you know, for example, like, I don't use the space DLC much, not interested in it all that much. And so for me personally, oh shit, I'm trying to get this quickly here. For me personally, you know, I don't use it very much, but I don't think it's, you know, I think there are parts of it that aren't great or could be better, but because it's not something I'm all that interested in, you know, it's, I'm not going to be all goo goo gaga for it. But if you, and for example, I love Industrial Frontier. That's my favorite DLC. For other people, they can't stand it because they're not interested in industrial gameplay at all, or, logistics gameplay at all, but they love the weapons DLC. I could do without the weapons DLC. I would much rather do all civilian everything. But, you know, so for example, if I went and raided weapons DLC, I'd be like, oh, weapons DLC is cool, but, you know, I'm not all that interested in weapons DLC. And some people, if they're not interested in it, they will therefore say it's bad too. So you get that as well. And so of course you get a DLC, and the DLC is not going to be as well rated as the game because, the people who like weapons DLC like the game because they like the weapon stuff, but they're not interested in mining, so they downvote Industrial DLC because they're not interested in that type of gameplay, and that's what I think some people miss. Is it's like, that's part of that's part of the factor of like people who don't enjoy certain parts of gameplays because it's just that's not the gameplay for them. Like, for example, I like some of the train stuff. Engineers of Stormworks love train stuff. That's mostly what they do, and so if you come out with a DLC that is very train focused, the people who like trains are probably going to be happy that that happened. You can also get in the situation where people who actively, which I think is a bad take, when they're actively like, because you put in trains, I didn't get what I wanted, therefore bad. I think that's a bad attitude, frankly, is, because, like, for example, weapons DLC people, a lot of them wish that every update was weapons. They wish that they got sniper rifles and bazookas and all this other shit. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they think, some of them think that if you don't give them more weapons parts, you go give some other people what they've been asking for, you're somehow stealing from them, and that's a bad take. You're not taking from someone else when you focus on another group. And I think the devs do a good job at that. They could easily say, oh, we'd make a boatload of money by doing more weapons DLC shit, we'll just focus on that. But they don't. They say, hey, there are other parts of the community that want this, let's try to give them what they want. And I think the devs do a reasonable job of that, of spreading the love around the community, Very length connector. I don't know what you mean by very length connector there, Opno Pinny. Yeah. Again, you gotta look at what the game is all about. That's a lot of people don't do that either. They want the game to move to them instead of them moving to the game. And you gotta understand that if you, for example, you buy a something in real life and you don't use it the way it was designed to be used, you still bought it, you still get to use it, but it doesn't mean that it should change to suit you. It's like, you go out and you buy a toaster oven, don't expect it to do, to make mixed drinks, because that's not what it's made for. It's made to be a toaster oven, and so you gotta expect that, hey, this is what the product's supposed to be. I'm using it differently. Like, for example, you could go out and buy a toaster oven and use it as a paperweight. It's not designed to be a paperweight, but you could. And that's what some of those people miss, is like, the game was designed to be a building game. You don't build, you can still play it, but you're missing kind of the point. And it's up to you whether or not, you want to do it. But it's not fair to say, hey, toaster ovens are stupid. You should just make paperweights. No, that's not how any of that works, All right, so I need to make sure I can get over this. That's an important part of the functionality of this. So this goes in. Okay, this would load container 1. And then this needs to be able to go down past it. There it goes. And that would then load container 2. And as much as would it be great if it didn't hit the ceiling a little bit, it is kind of cool that you, as the operator here, have to actually get good at operating the crane. I very much like that. I don't like auto loading shit. I think it's boring as hell. It's like, well, what's the point of me? You become a passenger instead of a pilot. That's boring. You'd much rather be the pilot than the passenger. Oh, so that's stuck at the moment. Okay, let's go. There we go. All right, so that is now going past it. And that should be all the way to the end, I would say, at this point. Let's lower that down. All right. So now, as you can see, so you load container 1. It takes longer. I'm trying not to let this fall off the ass. I think this is jammed up well enough. It should sit there, hopefully. Let's go ahead. These will have break sections. So when the container's in the front, you'll push a button and it will lock it in the front. So that won't be a concern then. But I gotta go up. I just can't see it past it. All right, let's see if it's at the end now. It's still... Okay, I've got it pushed up too hard, so it jammed up. All right. Let's fix some of it. All right, so gantry crane's working all right so far. All right, so yeah, so this will be able to slide past these containers and then go grab the second one and load the second one on. The other thing I could do is turn these. Put them like this. Make sure this grabs all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a quick, let's do 5 on here. And we'll just do break, 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 break. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, gotta open the door. Shit, I'm in the engine. I could stand in the engine to sell. Six to just lock to unlock it from the tracks. All right, so there's container 1. Bring container 1 in. So let it lock up back on the tracks, as you can see. All right, now we'll press 5 to break it, disconnect it. I don't know why the brakes aren't working. See if it's all the way down the end yet. Probably is. All right, good. So it's all the way down the end now. So now this could grab container number 2 and load 2 in. And so what you would do in real life and in game is the center of gravity will be marked on the aircraft. So you'll have wherever the CG is. And if you're calling one container, you'd put the center of the container or the center of gravity of the container at the center of gravity of the plane. If you're going to load 2 containers, you want to put you put a 2-block gap between the 2 containers, and that's where you'd put 1 container on either side of the center of gravity. Huh. Got another person to boot on Twitch. Very nice. Trying to sell me views. Alright, good. They're gone too now. Yeah, you know, it's that's the thing that kind of gets me sometimes. It's like when, you know, people who, you know, you play the game how you want, you bought it, but the problem is, you know, you may not be playing it the way it was intended. And when that's the case, you gotta kind of make a concession that, hey, I'm playing in a way that was not intended. You know, you take a break on, you know, trying to get the game to move to me. It's like, for example, I don't like Dark Souls games. I hate for example, I'll make another example. I don't like third-person games. What is it? the hell's the name of that game? Jesus Christ, my poor brain can't remember shit. I'm still on display cap. What the hell's the name of it? Helldivers. Helldivers is a third-person game. I do not like third-person games. I hate them. Not interested in playing any sort of, especially shooters. I will not play a third-person shooter. Never gonna do it. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna play a third-person shooter. Not gonna happen. And so, you know, if I bought Helldivers and then was like, oh, you guys should make this third-person game. No, I went in understanding that Helldivers is a third-person game. It's not right or fair of me to then try to change the game to suit my desires. You know, that's not cool. And so it's like when you go in and you buy something the way it is, that's the way it is intended to be. You know, you need to conform to that, not the other way around. And so it's like some people came into this game thinking that, or wishing that it was a something different than it is, you know, and that's why you get some of that issue that some people have. They want to change the game to them. It's like, no, dude, you came into a building game. You don't build, that's fine, but it's not like Kuth or what's going to happen to try to change the gameplay of the game to suit yourself. You know, it's the other way around. Is you need to kind of suit your gameplay for that. Let's see. Trying to think what piece I could make for this. What I could do, what I'm thinking of here is, let's see. I did something like that. I think it was anyway. I've been, this spot's been bothering me for a little while, and I've been wanting to fix it. You know, so it's like Stormworks is designed to be a building and engineering game, and if you don't like that, that's fine. You can still play. You can download stuff from the workshop, but the game should not then therefore move to what, you know, to your type of gameplay. That's not what it was intended to be, you know? Actually, I don't hate that too much. Let's see how it fleshes out here. I have to do too much to screw with this. Let's go back the way it was. Hello, Chris. Hello, hello. I'm just trying to visualize what I could XML in there to kind of smooth that out a little bit. What would that need to be? That would need to be double its size to fit that in there. So let's try something here. If I did that, and then I put I don't know. I don't hate that. That's not bad. I like it better than the gap in the front. Okay. I like that better than the way I had it. Okay, good. And then I probably can fit, yeah, I can fit an APU in here. Let's see what I can trim out of here. Yeah, we can definitely get an APU in there. That's likely where the APU is going, is in here. Put it in one of the hips, all right. You do. All right, let's see. We're running on time here, 3 something, okay. Let's see, what's in the middle of the hips here? My fuel tanks there. I'm making good progress. Let's probably jump off here in a second, but make good progress on this. Let's save this real quick. Making good progress on the wrecker. Wrecker is mostly just decorating work now, so I'll probably take a little break on that and just do decorating at some point. I want to get some pumping and some cooling tutorials out. Gotta get T-Test 2 out, so that's just stuff to do. All right, guys, I think we'll finish up there. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you like the video. If you're new and you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one. Adieu.